What up, everybody? DJ Nubis here with you on the Middle Time Radio podcast doing another movie review. This time I'm doing 2021's The Retaliators, directed by Samuel Gonzalez Jr., Michael Lombardi, Bridget Smith, written by our very own Darren and Jeff Gear. You've seen us on the Versus doing Versus shows on Samurai's channel this month, and Darren and Jeff have been a big part of that and a lot of fun. They're very cool, very humble guys, great knowledge of the arts of movies. I'm sure they've been involved with that stuff for a while now, but they got a big passion like we all do for horror films and stuff. So it's kind of cool to finally sit down and check out this film that they wrote here called The Retaliators. And synopsis is: an upstanding pastor uncovers a dark and twisted underworld as he searches for answers surrounding his daughter's brutal murder. It stars Michael Lombardi as Bishop. He's a factor in this film. Mark Manchada as Jed. Joseph Gatt as Ram Katie. Katie Kelly as Sarah. And there's even a cameo by Motley Crue's very own Tommy Lee on Strip Club DJ for a hot minute. There is some music in here by Five Finger Death Punch, so it's got a little bit of a rock and heavy metal vibe in there. I don't know if they're the only band. I think there's some other music in there as well, but I didn't look at the soundtrack. Right off the bat, the opening scene, there's some great gore effects. I did not expect the van scene to play out the way it did. I kind of thought that it was going to go one particular way, but all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, so we got all this going on. Okay, well that's pretty cool. So basically, what you have is the opening scene: a couple of girls in a van. They become under attack, and then we switch over to where Bishop is a pastor in a local town, and he's got two daughters. At this stage, I don't remember if I know if the wife is living with them or if they're separated, because she does show up later in the film, but like you don't see her at this moment, so I don't know like what kind of factor she is. But anyway, Bishop and his daughters it's around Christmas, so they're shopping for Christmas trees and presents and stuff, and there's a moment where Bishop is taking the younger one to get more presents, and the teenager, Sarah, is trying to pay for the Christmas tree they just got. And while she's there, a gentleman walks up and basically just takes the tree from her and buys it himself. It's like $50 or whatever, which that person happens to be a cameo by Brian O'Halloran, who, if you don't know, he's the guy that plays Dante in the Clerks films, in the Kevin Smith movies. So it was kind of interesting. I knew right away who that was. And so it was kind of cool to see him. There's also a couple other cameos in here. One by Robert John Burke, who you've probably seen in movies like Tombstone, Thin Air, Copland. And then even Robert Knepper, who is known for Young Guns 2, Transporter 3, and Hitman. So you're going to see some familiar faces in this film. But anyway, when Halloran's character decides to try, to buy the tree, Bishop walks up, and of course the teenage daughter Sarah is telling him, what's going on. He tries to politely say, "Hey, come on, man, this is our tree. You're just," and Halloran is acting like his character's a douchebag. So he's like, "Fuck you, dude," and pushes Bishop and then takes the tree and leaves. So Bishop doesn't do anything. I mean, he's very religious, obviously, and trying to be more of an example for his kids and whatnot. But I think his daughter was like, you should have did something there, which we'll find out more later about how he changes over the course of the film. But anyway, he's also very protective of the daughter. So the daughter doesn't have like a boyfriend, and she does have friends, but she's not really someone who can go out a lot. So she was kind of pleading with her daddy to go to a party, hang with friends, and he was kind of reluctant at first, because he's very protective the way he is. And eventually lets her go out, but then she comes across at a gas station as she's filling up the car, uh, Ram Katie, who's this part of this gang, the biker dude, big skinhead looking dude. Um, he had just got done like killing, or not killing, but knocking out another rival biker who they're trying to do like a drug deal where he's the guy's selling him drugs for money, but he's double crossing him. So he knocks this dude out. He's in a wheelchair, so it's easy to fuck with him, but he knocks him out, puts him in the trunk of this Charger that he's got. And he's at the gas station too. So all of a sudden, the biker dude in the trunk starts making kind of noise, and the girl hears it because they're right next to each other. And Ram, he's like, oh, okay, so I got to take care of this now. So she gets in the car, takes off after she maces him in the face, which pisses him off. He chases her down. During this chase, she calls her dad and says there's some dude like chasing me. And so dad's like doesn't really know what to do at this point because he doesn't know where she is. And then they get cut off. And so what this Ram guy does is he takes her, zip ties her hands to her steering wheel in the car, and then pushes her into a lake, obviously killing her. Now, really, by the description of the synopsis, it said it was a brutal death for her. I mean, it's any kind of death that sucks. It doesn't matter what it is, but I was thinking it was much worse just because of what I had seen in the opening scene. But anyway, she drowns in the car, and the dad shows up eventually, and he's like broken. Like, just Bishop's like fucked. He can't really think. When he gets home and he's trying to deal with life, his wife is kind of like, it'll be okay. Uh, but he's kind of lost. Like he's really angry and depressed, and when a detective shows up to kind of tell him, they're trying to find the guy that did it, and this guy also, the detective, plays a major factor in the film. He I don't want to give too much away because I do want people to see this. So I'm going to try to be as step around it as much as I can. But eventually, someone comes to Bishop and brings him to, because this person that captures Ram, the guy responsible, has been doing some stuff for a while in terms of getting the baddies. So, he's been fucking with people that are very bad people in a weird way. So he's trying to introduce Bishop into his world about justice, secret justice, we'll call it. And the movie's timeline jumps around a little bit in here, so you have to be careful because I kind of got, for a while, I was like, okay, we were focusing on Bishop, but now we're focusing on the detective's background and then other people's background. But it all does come back together eventually, so don't lose patience with it or anything. It actually all plays a factor in what's going on. Actually, very cool. Actually, now the movie kind of loses me at the end just because uh, there's a decision that Bishop makes that I just don't understand, and unfortunately, it uh, leads to things that he would normally be 100% against. Like he's responsible for other people's deaths, and I'll just put it that way. And so that kind of like bothers me in the sense that there's like this immediate 180 he does after he makes this choice. And so I'm kind of like, you wouldn't do this before, like literally 5 minutes before. Well, I want to say 5 minutes, probably like 20 or whatever before he's knocked out. But then he makes another choice, which leads to total like chaos and devastation. Like I'm like, holy fuck, dude, you really screwed the pooch here. So really, the last, 15 or 20 minutes of the movie loses me a little bit because of the illogical decision this lead character makes. But it doesn't hurt the film. I mean, it really didn't. I know it's all part of the plan of the movie, but I kind of just didn't understand like the logical aspect of this. I kind of expected it to go a different way initially, um, but let me just say the carnage that takes place towards the end of the film is fucking amazing. Like I said, the gore effects are amazing. It's very violent in places. I will say the final death scene for a particular individual is pretty satisfying and wonderful. And the other thing cool about this was I looked on Rotten Tomatoes for scores, and I was really happily surprised just how well it received. I think critics give it 87% and audiences at 89. So that's really, really high scores for this film. So considering the premise and the amount of gore and stuff, so it gives me hope that critics aren't always snobbish assholes like I think they are. So it's nice that they're receiving this film very well. Uh, it's a great film, really well put, great acting all the way through. Like I said, it just lost me a little bit with the decision making. I don't know if it's because it happened so fast or like I don't really see the logic of what Bishop was trying to do there because it made zero sense in terms of, oh my god, what the fuck did you just do, dude? So he has to end up fucking going and trying to clean up his own mess at that point. But there is some people that are killed because of that. That you're like, dude, what'd you do? Uh, my rating for this is a 9 out of 10. I really like this film. I didn't see it. I don't think on DVD yet or anything. I may have to research it some more, but this is something I'm definitely going to get on Blu-ray. It's a really good film. I do like this a lot. So to Darren and Jeff, very good job with your writing here, and the directing, of course, by Lombardi, who's the main character, also very good. So good job, gents, and good job by the cast. And if you haven't checked it out, it's on Amazon Prime right now. I did see it on Redbox, and I think it's going to be on some other streaming apps at some point as well. Knowing my luck, it will show up on Netflix, which I'm already paying for, but I can't say Prime. You have to pay for it, but it's only like $5, so it's a good rental and worth every bit of it. So later this week, folks, don't forget I have Poetic Carnage episode 2 on Thursday, and then Friday, Big Bad Wolf and I are talking more werewolves as we close out the month of October. Keep it metal, keep it rocking, keep watching fucking great movies. Take care of yourselves.